Okay, we are done with the first step, exporting the local MySQL database, the .sql file. Now, the next thing that we have to do is, well, first of all, don't forget that all of the URLs inside our database are pointing to our local machine. So in other words, if you're a Mac user, all of your URLs begin with HTTP ://localhost : 8888, right? And if you're on the Windows side, all of your URLs begin with HTTP :// localhost, right? Which is no good. We need all of our URLs to now point to wherever the destination of our blog is going to be on the live web server. For instance, I know that sounds kind of complicated, so let me give you an example. For instance, if I'm going to be uploading my blog to a URL like jeffblake.com or jeff-blake.com, then what I would want to do is I would want to look for any instance of localhost, HTTP :// localhost, and replace it with jeff-blake.com, right? Or maybe I'm uploading my blog to a subdirectory within a domain. For instance, maybe I'm going to be uploading to jeff-blake.com/blog, right? So then what I need to do in that situation is I would need to look for every instance of HTTP :// and replace it with HTTP ://www.jeff-blake.com/blog. Does that make sense? I hope so. Again, I know it's a little bit tricky. It's a little bit complicated. What I need you to do is I need you to figure out where your blog is going on the live web server. Is it going directly under a URL, yourcompanyname.com or yourname.com, or is it going to go under something like yourcompanyname.com/blog, right? That's what you need to figure out at this point. And then this SQL file, this local database that we exported, we need to go and open it up inside a text editor. So on the PC side, you can use Notepad. On the Mac side, you can use TextEdit. You could use, I believe you could use Dreamweaver. That would be fine. I'm going to use a program here on the Mac called Coda. On the PC side, there's another one that just came to mind called Notepad++. You could use that guy as well. That's fine. Now, give me just a moment here, because what I want to do is I want to use my text editor's find and replace command. So at least here inside Coda, I'm going to head to the edit menu and head down to find and then look for find there as well. Whatever program you're using, look for the find and replace command, okay? And by the way, you should not use Word or OpenOffice Writer or some kind of a word processing application like that. Don't use those programs. Okay, so what I want to do inside this file is I want to look for HTTP ://localhost, right? If I'm on the PC. If I'm on the Mac, I'm going to go :8888, right? And then I want to replace that with, again, wherever it's headed to, right? So in my case, it's going to be HTTP ://www.jeff-blake.com. And I'm going to go /WordPress. That's where my blog is going to wind up, right? So essentially what I'm doing is I'm looking for any instance of this and replacing it with that, right? And I kind of like to live dangerously, so I'm just going to say replace all, right? And it looks like it made some replacements here for me. Now, you may have more or perhaps less replacements than I have here. Once you've done that, go ahead and save up your file there, Control or Command S. We're pretty much done with that guy. Now, I'm just trying to remember here, too. I'm going back to the actual files that our blog is comprised of. I don't think we made any changes to these files either in terms of inserting a local URL. If in some bizarre case or event you went off on your own and made some changes to some files in here, you'd have to go and find those instances of your local host URL and again replace them with your live URL, if that makes sense. Once you've completed that, then we are ready to move on to the next step.